Now, the Disneyland band concert was recorded live at Disneyland Park and was, I believe, was led by Vesey Walker, who was the musical director at the time when Disneyland first opened. Anyhow, after they perform their daily routines on Main Street in the morning, they branch out and they become different musicians all over the park. For example, for Main Street, you have four players as the Disneyland Keystone Quartet or the Sax Quartet. Moving along, we've got the first of the famous Storyteller albums. If you look here, this is A Day at Disneyland, featuring Walt Disney and Jiminy Cricket, which was voiced by Cliff Edwards, as was in the movie. Cliff Edwards also provided the voice of Jiminy Cricket on the Mickey Mouse Club when Jiminy Cricket did his I'm No Food Safety First skits. Anyhow, this album features basically the same music as Walt Disney Takes You to Disneyland, excuse me. And this album was bought in good condition as it was. And it features Walt Disney at the engine here, and you have Jiminy Cricket to the right. And like I said before, the musical score in this particular album is basically the same music used in the previous album, Walt Disney Takes You to Disneyland. And you notice that the packaging of these first Storytellers has this round image around the picture. Here's a nice gem here, the original release of the Dumbo Storyteller album. Same original cover. This was found, I found this at a thrift store for $1. It was from 1956, and it was bought in, it was in okay condition. But if you look inside these albums, this one, you notice many of the animated cells captures from the original motion picture. Because of this, these first Storytellers would be worth a lot of money had the original owners taken good care of these. There you have it. Moving along, another Disneyland exclusive, the original Golden Horseshoe Revue, featuring the talents of Donald Novis, Betty Taylor, the Mellowmen Barbershop Quartet, aka Dapper Dans, and Wally Bogue as the tuneful bagpipe. This album was recorded live at Disneyland, and the show itself ran for over 25 years, and was mentioned in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest running show at row ever. Anyhow, you see all your favorites here again, including the famous Golden Horseshoe Girls. And the songs they perform here are Beautiful Dreamer, Hello Everybody, Mighty Glad to Meet You at the Golden Horseshoe. Betty Taylor belts out a good song, a wonderful version of Bill Bailey, Won't You Please Come Home. And you have the Leprechaun's Lullaby, and for the finale everybody sings the Pickles Bill song. This particular copy of this album I actually had two copies, but this one is in pristine condition. I never play it. It's still in its shrink wrap. It's open, but it's in wrap, but I don't play it. And besides, this album, you can find this album on the musical history of Disneyland, the big red box with the 6 CDs. And one thing to start off, the Disneyland Records also released a series of paper sleeves with advertising many of their albums. Here we see is the Storyteller albums, including Snow White, Cinderella, Uncle Remus, The Day at Disneyland, The Four Adventures of Zorro, and many others, and some musical mirrors, including America the Beautiful, featuring patriotic songs and beautiful photographs of our beautiful country, and The Grand Canyon, which was also a CinemaScope motion picture short subject which won an Academy Award, featuring stereophonic sound and Technorama 70. which is equivalent to Panavision 70. And turn over, you see many of the single albums, including the famous DQ series, many soundtracks, many character albums such as Goofy's Dance Party, many Mickey Mouse Club albums, including this one in the back, musical highlights from the Mickey Mouse Club. And it's got superstars of the Disneyland label, including Fess Parker, the man who brought us Davy Crockett. You have Francis Archer and Beverly Guile with their Four Corners. There's folk songs from the Four Corners. We have Annette Funicello, the famous Mouseketeer, who sings and narrates many of the albums, along with Darlene Gillespie and many others. And over here is a few of the many released in the separate, and they're released by Disneyland Records, but under the Mickey Mouse Club subdivision. Right here we have many releases for the original Mickey Mouse Club, which ended its run in 1959, but continued in syndication for many years throughout. Here we have the Mouseketeers performing many songs such as the famous Mickey Mouse Club March, Fun with Music, Today's Tuesday, and many of these songs were released in many future issues. And this one, I'm sure all of you have seen before, The Chilling, Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. Here lies a collection of the most horrific recorded sounds. This was rumored to be the precursor of the Haunted Mansion, I don't know, for some odd reason. Anyhow, Laura Osher, who also did many other Disneyland albums, does her grandest in this collection of sound effects from the Walt Disney Studios sound library. You notice a little disclaimer you notice a little small disclaimer right here. It clearly states that this particular Disneyland record was not intended for young children because of the scary sound effects. It was intended for teenagers, older children, and adults. Side 1 features many of the sound effects, which Laura Osher introduces the sound effects by setting the listener up. My favorite track is the first one, The Haunted House, and the dogs, and of course here's my other favorite, The Unsafe Bridge. On side 2, that's where we come into play. We can use these sound effects to enhance our movies, to enhance our parties. And this album went gold in the 60s and became one of the big sellers. You can still find this album in your local thrift stores. Now we move on to the Storyteller albums. We'll get back to the single albums a little later in our video. Now, originally the Mouseketeers released narrated many of the stories from the Walt Disney Library. But in the 60s, Jenny Tyler, the voice in the 1960s, Jenny Tyler, whose voice you may hear in Davy and Goliath and many others, was the official Disneyland storyteller. And she told many stories such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and many others throughout the entire 1960s and 70s. This album, this is one of the unique series of storytellers. You have the Magic Mirror series here. If I take the plastic cover off, this is how I protect my albums anyway. I won't take it off because it's stuck, but inside each of these albums you find art for the album, and they also put many of the animated cells, once again from their original releases. They packaged these beautiful books with art from the motion picture animation cells, mind you. And this series would continue through the 60s until in 1969 they decided to upgrade their storyteller line with new art and new album covers.